it's quite clear that we are all rightly concerned about the growing levels of corruption and criminality in our society, and with its widespread nature and its pervasive nature and its consequences on the broader aspects of our society. And I think you used the word corrosive, and I couldn't agree more with you. The Zondo reports rightly also awakened us to the levels to which our institutions were being destroyed, the levels to which resources were being leaked, and it was an invitation for us to remain wide awake even after those reports were done. And those reports really highlighted some recommendations, insights and recommendations that have relevance for all of us in what we've called an ecosystem of accountability, because at the AGSA we believe wholeheartedly that corruption, that the integrity systems of our governance arrangements can only be protected if every single role player performs on its mandate and does so consistently and effectively. I'll probably come back to that message just now. Let me talk a bit about the work that we do. You're right, I'm an accountant, I'm not a law enforcement agent, and the team I lead is predominantly accountants and auditors. So you're probably wondering, what do they have to do with anti-corruption movement, right? So as you know, constitutionally, we have a mandate to audit on all of the public sector. We audit every single public institution across the 3 spheres of government, departments, municipalities, as well as public entities, including the state-owned entities, right? And the work that we do sees us looking at the books of every single public institution every single year. The law says that when we audit, we've got to look at annual financial statements. That's the debits and credits. That's the stuff that all accountants do. But here's the trick about what the Office of the AG is compelled to do by law. We're supposed to also look at performance information, which is the service delivery report. And I'm going to come back to why that's important. And then the other part is to confirm whether or not, in the course of deploying public resources, that institution has operated within the rule of law. Again, very important. What we're finding is that most auditees, especially in the PFMA, so provincial and national government, the departments, the state-owned entities, they get the debits and credits right. So the financial statements look right. So the AG says the financial statements are credible. So I give you an unqualified opinion that they are credible. And then what happens is many of us as citizens look away. And the managers that have been appointed to lead those institutions on our behalf for our benefit then say, well, we have an unqualified audit opinion from the AG. Our books are sound. Go away. My invitation to each and every one of us here is that if we are looking for ways to push back on corruption, we must not look away. When you see that tick that says credible financial statements, it's correct, that's important, but that's only a small part of the story. The bigger story sits in the part about performance information. In the course of deploying these resources, were services delivered in the way that they were supposed to be done? Because that's where you're going to find the answer about where did the money go. Look at the work we do on compliance. If you see the AG saying procurement legislation and policies and prescripts are not being obeyed, then you must worry, because it tells you that the disciplines are not correct, that the law is being flouted, that policies are being flouted. And then you've got to ask yourself, why would that be? In a state-owned entity, in a metro, in an institution that has got the ability to hire top-level skills to run their procurement, why on earth would they not be able to comply with their own policies? The stories about PRASA that sit in the Zondo report, the debits and credits were right, no problem there. The issues sat in performance information and they sat in procurement, sitting in the area of compliance with legislation. The matters, and I'm looking at this very picture that all of us are worried about, SABC, their debits and credits are fine, because you can hire a CFO in the main that can get the debits and credits right. The issues sit in figuring out, did this entity do what it was supposed to do with the money that was put in its hands? That's where you're going to be able to figure out what happened to the promise that was associated with the big budget appropriation that went into PRASA and the fact that you don't have trains that are operating today. You're going to be able to figure out the answer very quickly as to why on earth millions of South Africans no longer have access to passenger rail services. You're going to be able to figure out the answer and close the story about why it is that the freight rail system is problematic today, why our economy suffers. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow, our economy continues to suffer because of Transnet's operational issues. Much of it sits in the story about compliance and about performance information. So the work we do, the work I'm privileged to do with a team of people that are 3,600 strong, operating right across the country, auditing every single institution every single year, there's value in that work. And yes, I'm told it's done, so please pay attention. That's what you can do. Thank you.